Hey guys, what's up? If you've been around the channel for a little while at least, you'll remember me building this gaming PC. Yes, this tiny box, which looks more like something akin to a external GPU enclosure, is actually an entire full-fledged high-end gaming PC. If you don't remember, I built this a little while ago, and I said I'd make a separate video testing it in games. Then I made a video where we decided the graphics card, and overwhelmingly, we voted one way, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, as for the specs of this PC, well, first of all, we have a Core i7-7700. Yes, I know it's a little bit of an older chip, but it works fine. We've got a Z170 motherboard with a BIOS update, which is amazing. It's a great board for this CPU. A Noctua low-profile air cooler right now, for now, and 500-watt power supply, 16 gigs of Trident Z Royal RGB, as you can see through there, and of course, what is probably the most awesome part of this tiny build, a full-fledged, full-size Titan X Pascal, which of course, because it's a Titan, is what everyone voted for in our little experiment, so we're going with Titan X Pascal in this build. And with a 7700 and a Titan X, you can expect a pretty decent gaming performance. But what about when they're forced into a tiny enclosure? Now, you can see it's got plenty of perforation, so realistically speaking, this should perform fine, but let's actually verify that in this video. So today we're going to be playing a couple of games, including some VR games with the Oculus Rift S, because that is one use case of a PC this tiny, is to just have a portable VR rig that, or something small, use it like a media PC, and have it in like a family room or a main TV room, and then play VR on it as well with something like the Rift S, which is super easy to hook up because it's just the headset and controllers. There's no sensors and stuff. So having a small box, smaller than relatively similar to the size of like an Xbox, might be actually pretty useful. But that's the point. Let's get into the games and see how this thing performs. I launched this game like 20 minutes ago, and I installed all the shaders. Why am I installing shaders again? I do not have any idea why I have to install the same garbage-looking shaders, because the game looks like crap, every time I launch this game. This is a terrible game. You know what? It's so bad, I don't even want to play it. I do not want to. I'm uninstalling the game. Where is it? Find it in my files. Where I'm uninstalling Call of Duty Warzone. Or, yeah, the whole thing. Just get rid of it. Yep. Goodbye. Nope, it's gone. Oh man, it feels really nice having literally 200 extra gigabytes on my rig. So guys, we couldn't test Warzone because it's stupid and I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm not testing Warzone anymore. I don't like it. So our first game is going to be Red Dead Redemption 2 because it kind of tests both the CPU and GPU, and you notice usually when I do like gaming tests where I'm sitting at this desk like with VR and stuff, I have the webcam. For some reason, I recorded this game earlier just to test it, and now I'm trying to do it again on camera, and it's not working. So I have it playing in the background, and you can see how the gameplay is going while I talk over it. And I mean, the FPS, we stayed around 60. This was on the actual pretty much max settings. It was on balanced, but if you scroll down, it's really on like ultra and stuff. And this GTX Titan X Pascal puts in work in this game. I mean, even at like idle, you can hear it really running. But I mean, in game, it got so much louder. I had to set a custom fan profile to stop it from thermal throttling, because as you know, the cooler design on these Founders Edition cards, especially with the Titans, is not good enough to keep the card cool under full sustained load. So you really have to set a custom fan profile, which definitely makes the card louder, but it keeps it below that 84 degrees throttling mark, which NVIDIA GPUs tend to follow. 84 degrees, throttle down, etc. So the game played fine for what it is, and the clearly wasn't choked for air. The CPU got a little toasty, but for the most part, it stayed cool because the GPU was putting in the work for this game. And, so, I mean, it does great. It's obviously, it's what you'd expect from a Titan XP and a 7700. But where I get really excited is seeing the VR performance on this little rig, because that'll be a definitely interesting experience to run something that's just so small, and it's adorable. Look at it. It's tiny. It's cute. But, besides that, let's move on to the next game. Okay, so no Call of Duty. That's fine. don't have any other games besides VR games, so we're gonna play VR games. We're gonna play 2 VR games. We're gonna play some Beat Saber because I want to play Beat Saber right now and I haven't in a while, and we're gonna play Half-Life Alyx. So let's get right on to that. All right, guys. So our next game, which I guess you would call the second, because the actual second game sucks and we uninstalled it, is Beat Saber. So yes, as I mentioned, this is kind of like a little rig that can definitely be used to play VR, and there's something special about playing VR on a Titan X Pascal. So I think, obviously, we all know this is going to be an amazing experience because it's a Titan XP and a 7700. Now, the 7700 is kind of low power, but it even meets the recommended specs for our highest end game for VR, so I think it's going to be a good experience, but nonetheless, I'm going to challenge it this time. So I'm going to get a really fast and a song that I would fail if I didn't have no fail on, so I actually have to have it on because I'm so utterly terrible because the song is so hard. But it's really hard to find non-copyrighted songs on Beat Saber, so we'll have to play it. Anyways, that's the point. Let's get into Beat Saber and have some fun. Alright, that was really hard, and I did bad, and I messed up the recording a little bit, so I had to do some creative editing, but that's the point. So, I mean, obviously the game runs fine, and one thing I'll tell you is, the GPU does get kind of loud, but it's not because of airflow or anything, because it's a blower style cooler, so it doesn't really need too much, intake and airflow, it just kind of creates its own. Where it's kind of a problem is that the Titan XP that I'm using in this build, Titan X Pascal, not Titan XP Pascal, which apparently is a different card, it actually, can I take this off? The blower style cooler does not cool it correctly, okay? I'm just going to tell you that straight out of the gate. It does not. This thing maxes out at 84 degrees under load all the time. So I had to set a custom fan curve to even get it to fully boost during gameplay, which does allow it to be a little louder, but I assure you in most games, you can keep the normal fan curve, allow it to throttle a little bit, but it'll be much quieter. So, that's the only thing I noticed, is the fans are a little loud. But trust me, I've got a project coming up soon that might be able to fix that problem. More details later. So, for our final game, we're going to be moving on to Half-Life Alyx. So, this game, I can tell you, for a matter of fact, it's going to run fine. There might be some frame dips, because this game just kind of always has frame dips here and there. But the recommended specs for Half-Life Alyx are actually an i7-6700, so we are one generation better. We are Kaby Lake instead of Skylake with a 7700, and it recommends an RX 580 8GB / GTX 1060 6GB, and this is a Titan XP 12GB, so I think we're doing good on that front. But that's not the point. Let's just hop in and play a little bit of our custom level here and choose some bad guys. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Tip for any Valve developers that aren't watching. Fix the fucking grenades. Stop making them stick to my hands. It's not a sticky bomb, man. Fucking... I mean, I'm gonna be honest, there's not really much that can be said other than, I'm playing Half-Life Alyx on a 7700 and Titan XP. It's kind of, overpowered as shit. Well, if that's not the best way to end that game, then I don't know what is. Because we just killed each other in a VR video game at the same time. So, what do you expect? It's an ITX rig that can destroy any video game, and it is actually tiny. But, here's the thing. The only reason that I am actually making this video, the main actual reason, because there's one, there's a main reason, is as a teaser for what's to come. Because imagine if I took this rig and somehow magically doubled the core count, increased the clock speed, made it overclockable, liquid cooled it, and added two PCI Express cards. Not just one graphics card, but two cards in the same build, despite the fact we only have 2 expansion slots. Now, how do you get a graphics card and something like, let's say, an Elgato capture card into 2 expansion slots when most decent graphics cards take up 2 slots? Well, some of you know where I'm going. What if you had a graphics card that was extremely powerful, say a GTX 1070 or an RTX 2070, if that floats your boat, and was a single slot? Stay tuned for a little while, because it's going to be expensive as hell to buy all the shit, but you get the point. It's going to be pretty epic. But that's besides the point. So, this system kicks ass. It's literally a Titan XP, and it's so hot. And a 7700. What do you expect? It's actually super on the back. You burn your hand on this card. Even if this wasn't a regular chassis, it would be impressive performance-wise, because it's just awesome. But in this little tiny size, it's great. But, like I said, I'm challenging myself to not only double the core count, but also double the amount of RAM channels. Maybe even liquid cool it. But that's for a future video. You might even see some parts of that video on this table right now, because I'm lazy as fuck and don't clean. But that's besides the point. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed me testing this little ITX system. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.